Yes, I'm back. Married at First Sight UK, Episode 10, Part 2. Ladies and gentlemen, dinner is now served. So it was Morag that started off the dinner by giving a speech first. She welcomed and turned Alexis back, and also Dan and Matt. And the next thing she said was that she was liking the positive vibes of the group and for it to remain that way. And that was the end of that. She kept it nice and short. The first awkward conversation that took place was between Dan, Alexis and Megan. Dan asked the two of them whether they were good, because all he's heard is hearsay. So he's thinking that them two have made up. They haven't. They sat there awkwardly, nodding their head, yeah, we're good. Yeah, all is good. But really deep down, the thoughts that are running through their heads was one of, we're not happy. We need to talk. Yeah. So that was the end of that conversation. I'm sure we're going to see further into the dinner something happen here. The next awkward conversation was one with Frankie and Marilise. Them two are very much loved up, sitting very closely, looking into each other's eyes. And then he comes out and says something like, she's got a lazy eye. Is this guy for real? Is he trying to give her an inferiority complex? Oh my goodness me. I actually think he was giving her a compliment. Or what he calls a compliment. He said, you got a 0.1% lazy eye, but I find it very sexy. Oh, this guy is something else. Oh, he is something else. Was that supposed to be a compliment? Next conversation that came up was between Morag and Alexis. Alexis made a point in saying that she's looking forward to her and Ant's journey in this process. But she made a point of saying that with Ant, this is the first time her meeting someone that doesn't just want to jump into bed with her. She says at the moment it's all about getting to know each other. We're just talking, we're going for walks, and very much on a chill level. It's so refreshing, she says. Next we saw Taya and Adam, both eating in silence. Yes, silence. These two are not speaking. Ooh, this baby issue is an issue. Yep, totally sitting in silence. Then the camera changes onto Josh and Amy. These two are sitting here having a spat about asparagus. Yes, asparagus. He's trying to feed her asparagus. She says she doesn't want the asparagus because it's got butter on it. Her and butter don't get on. He's saying it's lemon juice. He's still trying to feed her the asparagus. Oh, God help me. This looks like child's play. It absolutely looks like child's play. He's behaving like a big kid. He's not listening. She's not listening. These two are not listening to each other. It's ridiculous. He's trying to get her attention. But rather than, as she says, put his arm around me, he doesn't do that. He does child play to get her attention. I'm telling you, they're not meant to be. I'm telling you. Moving away from them, the next thing we saw was Alexis approaching Megan. Yep, Alexis. And these girls locked eyes. Awkward. My goodness. I thought there was going to be an explosion. But it went smoother than we thought. Alexis was really saying to Megan, she said she wished Megan would have just told her about the situation with her and Jordan, instead of her finding out the way she did. Because she felt a bit like a fool. If she had the heads up on it, she would have felt better rather than him having one up on her. Yeah, that's really what she said. And Megan felt was a little bit remorseful. She was. She didn't exactly say sorry, but you could see in her face she was remorseful. And it ended off with Alexis saying to her, let's move on from here. This is girl power, girl empowerment. And then the last thing she said, in jest, as a joke, but I wouldn't take it as a joke. She said, as long as you don't take Ant from me. Yes! Yes! That's what she said. She may have said it as a joke, but believe me, she was not playing. You better believe. Come for Ant, and she'll rip your eyes out. The next conversation was with Taya and Morag. Taya was trying to explain to Morag about the baby issue, and that her and Adam had been talking about it since week 1. They've been talking about the marriage, having a family, the whole 9 yards. And for him to behave like it's all on her, that she had made the decision and it wasn't them making the decision together, she felt embarrassed by that. She just couldn't understand why he would do that. Sort of, embarrass her in that sort of way and make it out like it's all about her wanting children and not them wanting children. But then Morag did turn around and say to her, I can understand where you're coming from, and it's a man thing. When men are amongst their boys, they behave a certain way. But then on top of that, she did say about Taya moving a little too far. You're still young. What's the hurry? And I can understand that. What is the hurry? Give the guy a chance. Give the guy a chance. We don't need to have babies in the next 6 months. We don't. Not even a year. Not even a year. 2 years down the line, maybe. But let's not force the issue. But anyway, that was the whole point of that conversation. The next conversation to be had was with, again, Josh and Amy. Those two are not getting on. They're not. Her face looks as miserable as sin. He was asking her what's up. She was saying she was tired. Then he said, do you want me to go and get you a drink? And then she said yes. So he got up and got her a drink. So whilst he was away, it was Luke that was talking to Amy now. And Luke was saying how good a guy Josh was and to give him a chance. But Amy's saying she's thinking far ahead. She wants to plan ahead. He doesn't think ahead. He thinks day to day. That's the way he thinks. He takes each day as it comes. That's his mindset. She wants to know where this is going. Yeah, and I can understand that. She wants to know where it's going. She can't do this day to day thing. Makes no sense. This is a marriage. Marriage is all about planning. Another thing she said to Luke was that with Josh, it takes him a year to fall in love. A year, you know. A year. Is this guy serious? Oh my goodness me. Like I said, he's not ready for a relationship. He's not ready at all. He doesn't know about emotions and feelings and affections. He hasn't got a clue. So I can understand her misgivings and her reservations. I really can. Poor bloody girl. Poor girl. And also, while having this conversation, she was actually in tears. Luke was trying to console her. But at the same time, she's just emotional. It's all too much for her. She wants the fairy tale. He's not giving her the fairy tale. Then Taya joined the conversation and was asking very much the similar questions to Luke. And before you know it, Josh came back. And when Josh came back, it went very sort of quiet and silent. She was still talking, but she's whispering rather than making it noticeable that she was talking about him. Awkward. The whole thing was awkward. Oh, I don't know. The next thing that happened was the experts had set up a game, an honesty game. So an honesty box with some cards in that each couple had to answer. So they had to give a truthful answer to whatever the question was. The first question was for Amy and Josh. And the question was, what does the future hold for you as a couple? Josh's answer: how long is a piece of string? Yes, the whole table was in shock, thinking, is this guy for real? Oh, Amy's face was like thunder. She was rolling her eyes of embarrassment. Oh, this guy. Amy's answer was that she wanted the string to be everlasting. And everybody was like, oh, yeah. So the question came back to Josh again. He wasn't actually going to answer it. He was actually going to move on. But they were adamant they wanted to hear an answer from him. And he said, yeah, I want the same as her. He virtually copied everything she said, to be honest. He had nothing really to add to that. Oh, this guy. This guy. All he does is breadcrumb. That's what he does. He breadcrumbs. He says what she wants to hear. That's all he does. Says what she wants to hear. Absolute waste of time. The next question was for Morag and Luke. And the question was, what has your partner taught you about yourself? Now this one actually got me tearful, especially when Luke spoke. But initially, Morag spoke. She spoke about the walls that she has up, and that by being with Luke is helping her to bring those down, and that she needs to trust him. Her answer was very short. And then Luke spoke. He turned around and said she's helped him grow in a way as a person, to feel that he is enough. And if all doesn't work out between them, that he's eternally grateful. And to add to that, he mentioned about Morag bringing him back to the person he used to be. But it's just the way he said it. It got me in tears. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. The next question was for Bob and Megan. And their question was, what is the best and worst thing about your partner? Bob said that he liked the way Megan speaks and she sounds so intelligent, and he finds that quite a sexy thing. And then the worst thing about her, he said that he's not able to sleep in the bed. Yep, everybody started laughing. Yeah, that made sense. That made sense. I realised that Megan didn't answer the question, so not too sure whether the question was aimed at her at all. So that's a bit confusing. The next people to answer their question were Taya and Adam. And they were asked the same question as the first couple: what does the future hold? And Adam's reply was they're looking at a life together and to have a family. So he brought that relationship back from the brink, the argument that they had earlier. Well, not so much the argument, the disagreement. And that's where this game seemed to end. We didn't see everybody else have their turn. So that was the end of that game. Next thing we knew, the camera was back on Amy. And she was talking to Alexis. Alexis could see that she was not in the greatest of moods. And she looked upset. Amy was trying to explain to her about her feelings and how Josh doesn't seem to want to talk about feelings. And she feels like she's shutting down because she can't talk to him about how she's really feeling. He doesn't do serious conversations. I told you this. I told you this. This is a man-child. This is a man-child. He's not grown up. He's a man-child. He's not ready for marriage. He's a man-child. And I'm going to keep saying it. He's a man-child. Waste of time. Absolute waste of time. But like I said, she can't seem to open up to him because she's afraid of scaring him off. And at the moment, she doesn't want to rock the boat. That's what she said. But she'd rather suffer in silence than rock the boat. But then Morag was saying, you need to speak. You need to rock the boat. You need to get to the bottom of things. And let's see whether this happens. So that was really the end of that conversation. Oh, sorry, no. He came back because in that conversation it was Amy, Alexis, Taya and Morag. And then he came back. And he said, who you lot talking about? And they turned around and said, you. And he's like, he just shrugged his shoulders, really. Didn't have much to say. Not that he even noticed that my girl was crying. This guy hasn't got a frigging clue. The last conversation of the evening was with Bob and Megan, and this was outside on a bench. They were generally just talking about how the evening had gone and how people were complimenting them on how natural they looked together. So it was definitely a come up from last week. Bob said if you had asked him this question last week about whether they'd last, it would have been a no. But this week, things have changed with, like I said, them being authentic. Well, him being authentic. And Megan says from here on in, even though we're not quite romantically there yet, things are looking promising. And we've already jumped over the biggest hurdle, which was last week. All we've got is smaller hurdles to deal with. So that was the gist of the conversation. And they rounded it off with a kiss. Yes, they did. A little bit of a snog. Megan said to Bob, so are you going to kiss me? I was like, whoa, hang on a minute. I didn't see this one coming, but yep. Yes, she did. And that's where the night ended. We're going to have to wait and see what happens from here on out. So I'm going to leave it here. If you like what you've heard, please like, comment and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.